Wouldn't you know it? I was supposed to be on a ride right now, a 30-kilometer off-road ride, but I decided to change my tire first. I put a new Shinko 805 on the back, and in the process of doing that, I somehow pierced my tube, so I have a flat. So I have to take it off again, and it's not an easy task, and put a new tube in. So that's what we're going to do. Take this guy off and replace him. Replace the tube, and it is not an easy task. Oh, this is my third time I do a tire. I tried to do my friend's 250 Honda. That didn't work. The tire was too old and too dry. It just wouldn't give. It just wouldn't break off the bead. We couldn't get it off the rim. So she's riding on a ball tire right now with another friend is with her on a KTM. And I'm stuck at home with a flat. First thing is remove the chain. Then remove the brake. Oh. Watch out for your bushings that are falling off. Yes. Another one right here. The flanged one here goes on the drive side, the chain side, and the smooth one goes on the brake side. Let me just show you this. So in the brake actually slides up a slot that I'll show you the groove after. So you got to get the brake is off. You got to kind of pick this out of the way, take it off the slot, hang that ugly on the brake lines. Yeesh. Roll the wheel out. There you go. So we get the wheel out of the way. You see this? That mount here, the brake just slides. The brake just slides onto that mount in the groove there. See that groove that just mates up? That nice and clear. I can't even see from here. So that mates up like that. And that's part of the system that holds the brake in place. And the axle actually goes through that little hole there as well. So there's a double safety on that brake. So with the wheel off, you can take off the chain ring assembly. It's got bushings in here. See that? So it's got these metal mounts that fit in between these rubber bushings. These rubber bushings absorb the impact, reduce the wear, give the chain and the drive system a little bit of buffering against the harsh hammering of the chain against the ring, so it's not like wearing out the metal. It just gives a little so you see how those are assembled, right? Fatty on the left, skinny on the right. So I'm going to work from this side. That way I'm not putting any kind of weird pressure on the disc. We have to remove the valve. I always keep one of these little valve remover kind of valve covers. There's not going to be any hissing because it's not an ounce of air. It's like, I must have put a big gash in it. I don't know what he did, but it's completely dead. Now, working out in the middle of a messy field, it's easy to, whoops, you see, easy to lose those little tiny parts. It's just a little valve assembly. Put that with my bushings. And so in a field dressing situation, I don't know where you get the, I guess you have to use urine and soap, but on the internet I've seen people, they say use Windex. This just lubes the rubber against the metal and helps it come out easier. Okay, with that all lubed up, that's loud, huh? With that all lubed up, we try to break the bead. There was enough, the tire held the air long enough to set the bead, of course, which is the ugliest part of this whole game. But since it's such a freshly laid tire, it shouldn't be too bad. You gotta get this little fork inside and use this to pry in, push up the bead and bend it. Get the inside rim of the tire off the lock of the rim itself. Get that under there. I normally use rim protectors, those little plastic things you see other people use, but you know, they keep popping off. I've done so much damage to my tire already anyway. I don't see the sense in using this. I'm going to block the light a bit here. Alright, so you see? Let's see if you can see that. You see the tire is well off. You see both sides of that tire iron, and it's off the rim, off the inside of the rim. It's pushed down. You want to get that done all the way around the tire. No, I only have to take one side of the tire off to change the tube. I don't take a whole tire off, thank God. But even in a field situation, this wouldn't be an easy task. Or especially in a field situation. Just changing your tube or fixing your tube would be difficult. Changing a tire would be a nightmare. It's so hard to get the whole thing off. And you can see I've already wrecked my rim everywhere. That's all from today. And taking the rim out, taking the valve stem out, the little piton I showed you. Taking the valve stem out just makes it a lot easier, because when you can even hear the air squeezing in and out of the tube right now. Hear whistle? That's allowing me to squish the tube down more as I push down the tire. So you can get them at bicycle shops. They're a bicycle cap, but they're the exact same kind of valve on a motorcycle. They cost like 50 cents or something. All right, so leaving the gloves on. This is not the easiest task in the world. I broke these little bead pro guys. I broke one this morning. See that? I broke it taking off the. I think that piece of metal, I think, is what pierced my tube. So where I had 3 tire irons before, I only have 1 now. Now, more lube, and the ugly crunching of metal on the rim. Oh God. Ooh, that crunch. That crunch. 2 of them in there. This is where it's very handy to have a third. I'll give it a go. I'll try it. Might be okay for the tire. So, yeah. Won't use that to put it on though. So I just use the brake disc to hold everything. There we go. Now that's okay, maybe not. There we go. Maybe we're a few steps away from there we go. Now we can start saying there we go. Yes. All right. Now we have to take the cap off. This little. Maybe that's the problem. I put that on too tight. I ripped the tube out when it's inflated. Take off the retainer screw. Pull this up a bit off the other rim. It's going to require some work on this side. The bead is stuck in there, I guess. All right. probably standard operating procedure. I'm not exactly a pro at this, but I can make it work. There we go. Yep. The bead is still stuck on the other side. So with that, I can find the valve again. I already stuck it in, so to speak. Where the hell did it go? I don't even see it. I don't even know where the hole is. There it is. Try to find the hole. Seems to be pouring out of the valve. The valve seating is rusty, so maybe that was it. But it just came pouring out. It wouldn't hold it. Wouldn't hold pressure for a second. It was flat as soon as I put air in. Anyway, let's not waste time looking. That's dead. There's nothing in here. Checking the inside of the tire for anything sharp. Nothing. Nothing. All right. Garbaggio. Your retainer. Oh, pretty new tube. No rust. I'm so friggin' exhausted. Alrighty. In the field, I would normally just use my electric pump, hook up my battery, and put some air in here, but since I'm at home in my backyard, I'm just gonna use a bicycle pump. Put that bad boy, give a bit of air. Okay, now the hard part of this game, I have to assume that guy protects the tube. That's what it was before. So I guess this little washer stays on the inside of the rim to protect it against the metal hole, any kind of rough edges. Now this, I don't know how people do this. I'm not good at this. Supposed to get it in there somehow. And then the new tire, there we go. Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. When I first put the tire on, there was a yellow dot on the tire to show where was the heavy part. The light part, you lined it with the heavy part of the tire. That has since come off, and I'm no further ahead with my. Okay, there's too much air. So now I don't know where the heavy part is. That's okay. We'll balance the tire afterwards. That's pretty easy, actually. Now, where's the hole? Oh boy. That's annoying. That's very, very annoying. There's the hole. This is where people require like really long, tapery fingers to get this job done. I don't have that. I have fat finger. There we go. The more you try to push it in, of course, the more you squeeze the tire against your hand. So, a nice new lock nut. Get in. Shift around, let's make sure. I still have this little washer on there that fall off inside the tire. I can't see shit. Yes, it's there. Good. Alright. Alright. It has been a terribly hot day of tire changing, I can tell you. So this is where I screwed up earlier today, and probably where I pierced my tire. Pierced my tube, I mean. I was putting this back on. I forgot to try to squish the tire down. I'll show you what you got to do here, but it should be, if you're fighting really, really hard, you're doing something wrong. This shouldn't take that much work. Can't take the broken one. Just avoid the tube. Avoid the tube, of course. Now, this is the trick. It hurts the knees like hell because these knobbies hurt, but you got to keep it squished down. So that is the trick. That and not pinching your tire. All right. So you got to keep it squished down like this. And what'll happen? You want the bead of the tire sitting not here when you're putting it on, but inside deeper. And that gives you more space to stretch the tire over the far rim when you get to that point. So this is where the game begins. Gotta walk this up, kind of keeping this down here. And it's not a pretty scene. There might even be a swear word involved here and there. Walk down. I'm gonna walk this way because watch your rim. Whoops. I took one of those in the face today. That wasn't fun. Where's my rim? Right. You seen this? No tire, no tube of me. No, that's the last one. There we go. Good. That's that little piece. Just slip right on, baby. There we go. All right. Ta-da! So now I'm going to turn this off while I go and prime the compressor. I'm not going to use this field compressor. I don't think it would pop it. But maybe that'd be good exercise. Try to pop it on the field compressor. Because you have to inflate the tube until the beads reseat inside the rim. And it takes a good 50 psi. I don't know if there's little pumps up to it. It's too slow. I guess it's good to find out if you can do it. So I'm going to find out now. I had to go in the house to get a new SD card. So I thought while I was there, I thought I'd grab a nice juicy ass beer with Flying Monkey Brewery. Very, very good IPA. Super hoppy, very citrusy. And a juicy ass. It's kind of what I'm dealing with all day. Sitting in the sun, changing tires. So that'll be the entertainment value. Oh, baby. And it's unfiltered. So you have all the leaves to enjoy. Look at that. Yummers. Oh God, yeah. So I also want to show you, these are the Outback Motortek crash bars. They saved my bacon. This would have been ripped off completely in some boulders in my previous off-road ride. These guys saved my bacon too. So they're very solid. I would recommend them fully and completely, but they do have one little hiccup. Is that you can't get, it's very difficult. This brace on the frame makes it tricky to get at that bolt that holds in this little toolbox, which hides the battery. And you cannot get your battery out in the wintertime with this brace on. You have to actually remove this whole bracket. So this piece of the crash bar. Remove those bolts. Remove these two little bolts. Loosen this, and this whole piece, it pops off. It's not too difficult, but it is something to consider. But I think it's a small price to pay for a really rock solid set of crash bars. I should qualify that you can still get a socket in there. It's awkward. And it's just at its limit there. It just squeezes in the hole. So maybe Lori and the team thought about that and designed it so that you could reach in there with a socket. So now with the little toolbox removed and that bracket removed, you have to pop this little lip off here. And you see how that battery bay door hits up against the crash bar. It's kind of, I might have mounted it a little bit higher than the last time. Maybe I can put it down a little bit lower here. I don't know, but you know, you definitely need, it risks breaking this little box off. We're pinching your pinky. All right, so I'm going to connect the, I need two hands to this, but I'll connect the adapter. I don't have a plug in my bike yet, and I'll connect the pump and we'll see how that works. Hello. This is going to get really loud really quick. This is not something you want to have to listen to, so I'll be cutting out the sound when I bring this into the editor, but I'm going to try to bring it back before it pops. I want you to hear the popping. It's just like two big boom, kind of echoes across the rim and the tube whenever it seats, whenever the tire seats in the rim. Now let's see if we can get this bad boy on. Now normally, you know, if you're using the same tube, you'd have to put your little valve stem back in, right? But this bad boy is brand spanking new, so let's hope all goes well. And here comes the noise. Maybe I should turn the bike on to power the battery. Starting to sneak up. There we go. So that was very successful. This little airman, scooterman, little airman pump to 40 psi. I thought I heard the this side, the opposite side, pop earlier, but I wasn't certain. So yeah, it works. I can't believe it. Off the battery. So I definitely will be carrying that with me. Now I have to reduce the tire pressure to 30 psi or whatever. So with my trusty, handy dandy. I'm gonna lock that lock cap on there. Get this guy on. Oh, we're actually at 30 psi. Oh, that's a bit disconcerting. Or this one's off. Either it lost some air. Is it losing air? It's actually at 28. Yeah, oh, 29. Ah, that's good. All right. So I think I said fat side on the right. Maybe skinny on the right, I don't think it matters. It'll fit in there the same anyway, as long as you're consistent around the circle. It takes up the exact same space. Those guys fit in there. The drive goes on like this. Takes a little bit of convincing to get all the rubber seated. There we go. Grease up. I'm going to worry about putting a bit of machine grease. This has been with me for so long. Since 83, I think I've owned this grease. That's in 1983. My rim. Oh my God. So the bushings. The drive side takes the flange. Clean that off. Put some new grease on there. grease is a lot gooier when it's plus 30 and not minus 30, like in the video when I install my SW Motortek center stand. That little notch goes on the top. See that? To measure against the, to indicate the wear against the wear bar here. There. So I'm not too sure if I was recording before. I was talking about balancing the tire. Now, this doesn't roll well because the brake pads aren't seated. Everything's got to kind of go through a little spin first. But you would take the bushings off. You wouldn't put the chain on. You'd have the chain off the side. Just put the axle through the hub and let it sit. So the wheel is touching nothing. It's just resting on the axle. And you would put the valve, wherever the valve may be, at a 45 here, and see if it rolls slowly to the bottom. And this, in my case, it did. Rolled slowly to the bottom. So on the opposite side, I would put a balance so it wouldn't drop. And then you have to try to find these balance, these little weights here, whatever you'd use to stick on the rim or whatever. And so you just do that again. You put it where it was heavy before, and you'd set it at the 45 and see if it moved. It doesn't. If it doesn't move, or if it moves only very slowly, then your wheel is balanced. So it's just a matter of seeing, where the heavy spot is, setting to the 45. Letting it fall. If it falls either way, whatever falls down, that's a heavy spot. You put a weight opposite. That should balance it out. All right, so the tire is done. It's holding air, thank God. So there's no ride today, but hopefully there'll be a ride tomorrow.